Good evening everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. From today onwards, I am planning to start my lectures on Indian polity for UPSC Civil Services examination. And I am sure that this is going to help you for your prelims as well as mains examination. So lecture 1 is about preamble of Indian Constitution. After completing this topic, I will be discussing previous year question paper also. So without wasting any time, let us begin. So our first lecture is about preamble of Indian Constitution. This is the preamble of Indian Constitution. I hope you all are familiar with this. Now let me tell you what is a preamble. Do you remember this movie called Lekhan? The movie begins with something similar to this. British India 1893, the Indian subcontinent ruled by the British Empire is suffering from a severe drought. The farmers struggling to survive are forced to pay a heavy land tax. This dialogue was voice overed by Amitabh Bachchan, if I am not wrong. And do you remember this beginning of this movie? Or do you remember this Interstellar movie? The beginning of this movie was something like this: the earth is dying, crops are dying, we must find a new home or humanity will cease to exist. Do you know what is this? This is nothing but actually the preamble of that movie. So what is a preamble? Preamble comes from a Latin word called preambulus, which means walking before. In simple terms, preamble is nothing but an introductory statement that explains the philosophy and objectives of a document. And there is one fact, that is American Constitution is the first to begin with preamble. So we adopted this concept of adding preamble before a document is from American Constitution. Do remember this. So preamble is nothing but an introductory statement which says about the purpose, philosophy, uses, ideas and aspirations, principles, and objectives of a document. So who made this preamble? It was in 1946, 13th December. Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister before the Constituent Assembly, presented a draft about how will be our constitution. And this draft is called Objective Resolution. And this draft was adopted in 22nd January 1947 as our preamble. So I hope this is clear for you. You should know the history. Now the preamble reveals 4 ingredients or 4 components. What are the 4 ingredients or 4 components? First of all, the preamble mentions the source of authority of the constitution. So what is the source of authority of the constitution? Who gave power to make this constitution? It is none other than we, the people of India. We gave the Constituent Assembly the power to make Constitution of India. So the source of authority of the Constitution is we, the people of India. And nature of Indian state, that is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republican polity. And what are the objective of the Constitution? That is justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. And also the date of adoption of Constitution is also mentioned in the preamble of Constitution, that is November 26, 1949. So you should remember these 4 facts. Here I had given you a flow chart. We the people of India, that is Constituent Assembly, made the Constitution, and this Constitution runs the government. So indirectly we the people of India runs the government. So the supreme power lies in we the people of India. You can draw this in your answer copy. This is going to fetch you good marks. Now let us discuss about the key words in the preamble. So the first keyword is sovereign. Sovereign is nothing but it says that India is an independent state. That means it is free to conduct its own business, that is internal business as well as external business. And there is an exception, that is India's membership in United Nations Organization and Commonwealth of Nations will not affect its sovereignty. Now the second keyword is socialist. This is one of the most confused keywords. So let me explain what is socialism. The aim of socialism is to benefit every member of the society, and there should not be any concentration of wealth and nobody should be left out. And there are two means to achieve it. First one is USSR model, that is divide equally each resource in our society, that is complete nationalization. Here the state will control, manage and divide benefit equally. And Indian socialism is mixed economy, that is called democratic socialism. Here in mixed economy, private sector and public sector coexist, and there is a concept of progressive taxation, etc. And the term socialist was added in 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. The term socialism was implicitly mentioned under DPSP, but after the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, this was explicitly mentioned. Now the next term is secular. This topic is very important. I will be taking a separate class on secularism because UPSC had many times repeatedly asked questions about this topic. The term secularism was implicitly mentioned under Fundamental Rights Article 25 to Article 28, and it became explicit in 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Now we Indians follow positive secularism. Let me tell you what is Indian secularism and what is Western secularism. Secularism in India means the state is neutral to all religious group but not necessarily separate, which means here religion and government is not government, here religion and state is not clearly separated. But in West, the state is separate from the functioning of all religious institutions and groups. Here the state will not interfere with the religious matters. And in Indian secularism, the essence of secularism lies in forging a positive relationship between state and religion. In Western secularism, the state believes in total non-interference of religion. It does not believe in the open display of religion except for places of worship. And in Indian secularism, there is no clear distinction between the state and religion in India. In Western secularism, the distinction between state and religion is clear and set in stone. In Indian secularism, though the concept of secularism was practiced in ancient and medieval India, the term secularism was enshrined in the Constitution of India with the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. In Western secularism, the concept of secularism first came about in the mid-17th century of Enlightenment, which were enshrined first in the Constitution of France following the French Revolution. And in Indian secularism, the state gives financial aid to religious institutions and taxes them as well. There is no uniform civil code, instead it is administered by personal laws in many cases. Where in case of Western secularism, the state treats all the religion with equal indifference. It does not aid any religious institution through financial means or taxes them. A single uniform code of law is used to dispense justice regardless of religious background. So this is the difference between Indian secularism and Western secularism. You can add some examples like see here it is given the state give financial aids to religious institutions. This means for example the state provides funding for visiting Mecca State also gives funding to religious institutions for their welfare. Also for educational institutions maintained by religious institution is protected under constitution. So these things can be written as an example under this. So Indian secularism is a positive concept. Next keyword is democratic. Democratic means nothing but it is based on the doctrine of popular sovereignty, which means that the possession of supreme power by the people. Democracy is of two types, that is direct and indirect or representative democracy. Indirect or representative democracy is divided again into two, that is parliament and presidential form of democracy. And we India follows indirect or representative parliamentary form of democracy. Direct democracy is followed in countries like Switzerland, whereas presidential form of democracy is followed in USA. Now the another keyword, one of the most confused keyword is republic. In democratic polity, there are two types, that is monarchy and republic. There is a simple difference between these two, that is head of the state. Who is the head of the state? President is the head of the state. And who is the head of the government? Prime Minister. So here we talk about the president. In monarchy, the president's position is hereditary position, like that of in UK. And in republic, the position is elected. So what is republic? It means vesting of political sovereignty in the people and not in a single individual like a king. And there is absence of any privileged classes and hence all the public offices being open to every citizen without any discrimination. That is, all the public offices means from president's position to that of a clerk. All public office is open to every citizen without any discrimination. That means it is republic. Now the another keyword is justice, and our preamble mentions social justice, economic justice and political justice. Now let me explain what is social justice. Social justice means equal treatment of everyone, absence of any privileges and improvement of condition of any backward classes. And economic justice is non-discrimination on the basis of economic factors and elimination of inequality in wealth. And political justice is equal political rights, equal access to all political office and equal voice in the government. Equal voice in the government means public participation is ensured in decision making process of the government. We all have a voice in lawmaking. That's why we select MLAs and MPs, and it is a direct election so that equal voice in the government is ensured. Now next keyword is liberty. Liberty is nothing but freedom. It means absence of restraints on the activities of individuals, providing the opportunities for the development of individual personalities. This concept of liberty is taken from French Revolution. In preamble, liberty of thought, liberty of expression, liberty of belief, liberty of faith, and liberty of worship is given. And this concept of liberty is not absolute but qualified. It means that there is always a possibility of adding reasonable restrictions under this right, which means that there is no absolute liberty. The state can restrict this right under certain conditions like public health, morality, etc. This has been explained under fundamental rights. So I will be discussing this topic detailed in fundamental rights. Next keyword is equality. Equality means absence of any special privileges, adequate opportunity for all without any discrimination. In preamble, equality of status and opportunity is given. Fundamental rights, DPSP and other provisions also helps to ensure this particular concept of equality in our constitution. And next keyword is fraternity. Fraternity is nothing but a sense of brotherhood. Definitely it's not a gender neutral term, so definitely sisterhood is also included under this. To maintain fraternity, we follow a single citizenship, and fundamental duties also have provisions to maintain fraternity. Fraternity has to assure dignity of individual and unity and integrity of the nation. Dignity of individual means it is considered that the personality of every individual is sacred and it should be protected. Unity and integrity of the nation means psychological and territorial dimension of national integration. The term integrity was added by 42nd Amendment Act. Another question regarding the preamble is preamble part of our constitution? In Berubari Union case 1960, it is Supreme Court said that preamble is not a part of our constitution. But in 1973 Keshavananda Bharati case, Supreme Court said that preamble is a part of our constitution. And again in LIC of India case 1995, Supreme Court again said that preamble is a part of our constitution. And you should note this one thing, the preamble is neither a source of power to legislate nor a prohibition upon the power of legislature. And it is a non-justiciable, which means that we cannot go to court of law for the implementation of any provisions in preamble. Now, in Keshavananda Bharati case 1973, the Supreme Court held that preamble is a part of our constitution. Hence, it can be amended without affecting the basic structure. So, unlike any other provisions of the constitution, preamble can be amended, and it has been amended only once, that is 42nd Amendment Act. Now it's time for previous year question. Economic justice, the objective of constitution has been provided in option A, the preamble and fundamental duties, option B, the preamble and fundamental rights, option C, the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy, option D, none of the above. The answer is the preamble and fundamental rights. And the second previous year question is, which one of the following objectives is not embodied in the preamble to the Constitution of India? Liberty of thought, economic liberty, liberty of expression, liberty of belief. See, it's economic liberty. Not given is asked, and liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship is given, not economic liberty. Next question is, the mind of makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in which one of the following? The answer is preamble. Next one is, the preamble to the Constitution of India is a part of Constitution but has no legal effect. Not a part of Constitution and has no legal effect either. Part of the Constitution has same legal effect as any other part of Constitution but has no legal effect independently of the other parts. Answer is D. Now the next one is, what was the exact constitutional status of India on 26 January 1950? Which means that the 42nd Amendment Act, those amendment is not happened in 26 January 1950. So the answer is going to be a sovereign, democratic and republic, because secular was added because secular was added in 42nd Amendment Act, socialist was added in 42nd Amendment Act, sovereign, democratic and republic was already there. So these are the main question. Let me read it. What are the major commitments of the Constitution of India as incorporated in its preamble? Why India is called Republic? The preamble of Constitution is aimed to embody the fundamental values and philosophy on which the Constitution is based. Elucidate. What is the significance of preamble to a Constitution? Bring out the philosophy of Indian polity as enshrined in the preamble of Indian Constitution. Discuss each adjective attached to the word republic in the preamble. Are they defendable in the present circumstances? Try to write these answers and do comment if I need to take a separate class on this question. So that's all. Thank you. Do subscribe to my channel. Thank you everyone.